So we're here with Christopher. We're here with Christopher at long last. He's joined us for this season recap of his team. We've got myself, we've got Anthony, we've got Chris. Good evening, guys. We're gonna do a quick run through, and we're gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna go straight to the point. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Christopher, talk to us about how you got swindled into joining this Dynasty League in the first place, and then tell us a little bit about your draft. I know it was a year ago. You probably don't remember this that much, but I've got your team in front of me, and walk us through it. Tell us what you were thinking.
Well, I don't know that I remember too much about what I was thinking. Don't know even which color I am in
Were you
this
hanging out with Johnny?
chart here. All right,
There you
there
go.
we
I
go.
highlighted you. Your first
Thank
pick
you very
was
much,
Josh Jacobs.
Josh
You
Jacobs.
got the
He's a
ninth
beast.
pick.
He's a beast. Figured I wanted a good running back that had some years left
Hmm.
in this dynasty league. Mike Evans has always done me solid, and hey, he won the Super Bowl, so that worked out. Aaron Jones, pretty good.
Hmm.
Don't remember why I had Matt Ryan, but he did well, I think, the previous season. That's probably why I picked him. Keenan Allen's a boss. Connor has done well, but I don't know how well a season he had in the long run. I feel like he got injured.
Yeah, he did. I had him in the LC League, and he was injured for quite a while.
Goff had a good season. Thought he was going to do pretty well. I also felt like rooting for him because one of my bosses coached him in high school, so thought I would take him up. Ruggs is a star in the works. I think he's got a bright future. Howard's done pretty well, but tight ends kind of suck, so I'm not really sure why. I think I just needed a tight end at that point because everybody fucking sucked them all out of the ether.
You could have got Hawkinson, though. He was up next. He's afterwards.
Yeah, I think I don't know how they finished, but I think I would have still gone with Howard over that.
Herbert. This is one of the best picks of the whole draft, Chris, just so you know. Of the whole startup draft, Justin Herbert in the 10th round, because he finished, I believe, in the top 10 in quarterbacks as a rookie. Yeah, he was number 9 as a rookie. I mean, he's basically like set to do very well for you over the next 15 years.
15 years, that's how long we're set to do this Dynasty League?
Oh, dynasty means forever. Right? It's dynasty. You keep your team.
Oh, holy Jesus. All right. Well,
You didn't know that?
no, and I knew that. Getting back to your starting question about how you swindled me into
Yeah, the
joining
long
this league.
con. Yeah.
You were just like, "Hey, Chris, you want to just give my friends a bunch of money every year for the next 15 years?" And I was like, "No. In fact, I don't know if I want to continue doing fantasy." And then in the end, I was like, "I guess I got nothing better to do, so let's do it." I also think this is the pandemic year, right?
Yeah.
I think I was gambling heavily that the NFL was not going to actually succeed in getting their games going, and I was wrong.
So you just thought the
Turns
whole.
out they don't think that their players are valuable enough to save their lives. They're just like, throw them into the trash bin. We need our money every year. Thank you.
Yeah, the NFL does not care about player safety or health or any of that. So
Yeah.
you just thought the whole season wasn't actually going to happen, and the league wasn't actually going to happen, and it was just going to fall apart. So you're just like, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
whatever. We'll make Tyler happy.
Yeah. Basically it was get you off my case.
There you go.
And now I'm stuck with you for the next 15 years apparently.
Dang. Tyler's persistent, just like his trades.
Finally.
Dude, I don't trade anybody. I just don't do it.
You sound a lot like Johan. This is very similar.
Well, we'll
Yeah.
recap some of those, but again, I want to celebrate the Justin Herbert pick. That's a fantastic pick. If we were doing the startup
really
draft this
happy?
time, he would be in the first 2 rounds, I think, 2 or 3 rounds. Herbert, if we did this today.
Yeah.
Chris, you also drafted James Robinson and the 20th pick. I think that was a steal.
Hmm.
I'm glad. I'm glad that you think that, because honestly, I don't know what to make of that. Did he?
I think you just randomly got lucky.
I mean, I think I just at that point he was probably at 20th pick. I think, and especially in this draft, it was just like we were grinding. So it was just like, okay, whatever's next on the docket is as a priority pick, we'll grab.
Hmm.
I grabbed Mariota, which I was, just that was a fan favorite pick in
Hmm.
Dynasty League.
Hmm.
Probably won't ever work out for me, but
Hmm.
that's, hey, I got him. Ayuk, I think, is going to be great.
Hmm.
Koo was, I think, the best kicker this last season. So
Was he really?
Yeah, he actually was
yeah, he crushed it.
the number two.
Number two, he was insanely good, and I had him in like multiple leagues. Dude's a star. Um,
David Johnson? Oh, Duke Johnson.
Duke
Yeah,
Johnson.
I drafted. Come on, Tyler.
Hey,
You
I
know
I
just
don't
I
know
I
how many
just saw
drafted
players I
Duke
David
had at that
Johnson.
point.
Johnson running back for Houston. I was like, wait a second, how did this happen?
I think Matt Ryan did pretty good. Where did he finish?
I feel like what's going on
Yeah.
with Lee's QBs is happening to Chris's running backs.
They're dropping like flies.
No, he's getting a bad. So Josh Jacobs brought over Kenyon Drake, right? And so now he has competition there. Then he's got James Conner, who went over to the Cardinals, who they're talking about right now. Chase Edmonds could potentially, they're going to be split workload, but Chase Edmonds is the starter there.
Hmm.
And then who's your third running back, Chris? I feel like there's another one up there that had. Oh, Green Bay, Aaron Jones.
Aaron
Yeah, I
Jones.
mean, if Rodgers are talking about not playing, and that could hurt his value a little bit. Like all your running backs are being effective negatively.
Hmm. A little bit
Yeah,
unlucky there. I want to recap kind of where you finished off in the season. First of all, I do think you,
I made
despite
the
your best
playoffs.
efforts, I think you drafted pretty well. And again, like you had some great picks there, James Robinson and Herbert and that kind of stuff. And you did make some trades. We'll talk about them. But so you finished fifth overall, and so you made the playoffs with a 7-5 record. And with the playoff bracket, it looks as though you did lose in the first round to Johan, who eventually went
Won
on
the
to
whole
lose
thing.
in the championship. But
Oh, yeah, he lost. Yeah, that's right.
yeah, he lost in the championship there. Um, but I mean, I would say that's you make the playoffs, and generally speaking, it's a decent season, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. No, I mean, I got crushed by him in that round, but I
Hmm.
feel like there were a lot of. It'd be interesting. It'd be very interesting to see what how teams would play out in that rendition that Jason was talking to us about one time, where you play every team every week
Hmm.
and you rack up wins against all the people you win against, and
Hmm.
whoever has the most points at the end of the season wins. Essentially, I don't know if they go into a playoffs or whatever, but it's kind of a more a better value at looking how good your team is rather than the head-to-head matchup where you could be like get win with an 85-point game because your opponent's just shits the bed, and
Right.
you can lose when you score 200 points because your opponent scored 201 points. You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
so yeah, I'd be interested to see how that goes. It'd be interesting to see where everybody landed in that variation of it, right? Because it would tell you how lucky certain players were versus other players in getting to the playoffs and where they actually stood. Because I think I had a lot of close games where I won, and I think also a lot of close games where I lost, but I had high scoring. I think some of the first games I had actually were really high scoring in the
Hmm.
in this league.
I think the way you're describing it, and I'm familiar with those league settings where you have basically a head-to-head matchup with every other team in the league, and so that's 11 other teams, and so you might go 6-5 on the week, or you might, if you scored the highest score, you'd go 11-0, for example. Um, and I kind of feel like what that would do would be further reinforce the people who truly did have the best team, and to your point, kind of reduce some of the randomness. Um, so I think that's a way where the truly best of the best are able to kind of shine a little bit easier. There's also a different variation of that I've thought was interesting, and I've considered seeing if the league was interested in this, but then I decided not to even bring it up, which was basically you play two opponents every week, which is the one that you're normally up against, and then everybody else, or like the entire league, goes up against the average score of the league minus yourself. So, for example, let's say I'd go up against you, we would have our matchup, maybe you win or something, but then the other matchup is basically the average of all of the opponent's scores. And that's an additional second matchup. And again, that kind of basically further emphasizes if you have a really good team, you're probably going to be racking up wins against the average fairly often. And if you have a bad team, you're going to be racking up losses against the
I mean,
average.
I see what you're trying to do there, but that's like a half measure push the foot way of doing it. It's like either you do it or you don't. I feel like you're either deciding to play the statistics and see who actually has the best team versus just the random chaos of pretending you're playing a sport against another team when it's not really a head-to-head matchup, right? My players are not really playing your players. They're playing individual games and racking up stats, and just whoever gets the most stats. So it's like this, the way fantasy is built. They try and mimic a real sport, but it's not really, because they're not ahead. It's not actually playing against them. So we play with that rule, right, with the head-to-head tiebreaker. So it's like I play you twice, or I play you three times, or whatever it is, and I have the tiebreaker. So when we go to the playoffs, if we have the same record, if I had the tiebreaker, I win. But my players never really played your players, so it's not like I'm like actually better than your team or something. But yeah. Anyway, it's interesting. That's just how fantasy is. But I was just looking at my scores, and I don't know what the average score was for like teams, but looking at my average score versus like my opponent's average score, my average score is, I think, at least 10 to 15 points higher than my opponent's average score, and I had a 7-5 record, which, I mean, that's crazy.
Means you were kind of unlucky.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I'm
You
saying.
should have been better.
I almost had a 200-point game my second game. For the most games, I'm probably averaging like a 140, 145 maybe.
Yeah, and your points for yourself, it looks as though you might have been at least on the season, I'm not talking about a per game basis, but on the season, it looks like you were the third highest scoring team in the league. So you were ahead of even the number 1 team, Aaron. You were ahead of the number 4 team. Yeah, third highest in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, so like if you were to go with that metric and say where I would have landed, and based on if I were playing against every team, I would have done a lot better. So I had a kind of an unlucky season.
One of the things that when I looked at your draft, and again, just talking with you about this, about the fact that it's the Dynasty League, and of course, you can keep these players as long as theoretically you would want to. Did you have were you trying to at any point emphasize young players at all, or was it always just whoever's the best players right now, that's what I'm going with, and to hell with if they're young or anything like that? What kind of thought process did you have on that?
I didn't put a lot of stock into a long game strategy because the valuable players are going to change drastically from year to year. Like we were talking about the running backs that I have. I mean, a bunch of them could be devalued now because they're no longer, they're competing against people, or they don't have better teammates, or their team's no longer as good or whatnot. So it's like you could pick young players and they don't pan out. You could have gone with a bunch of young players and 50% of them pan out, and it's like I don't know that trying to build yourself to the future. I think the only way to really do it would be to, I guess, stack a bunch of draft picks in the same year that are good. But even then, I just don't know that any one strategy is going to pan out any differently, because I think like I was telling you in another conversation, that this is essentially gambling, and there's a lot of RNG in this. So I don't know that you could skill your way out of any one scenario. You can get screwed any one which way or another. So I just decided to go with players that I thought would do well this year and maybe the next couple years, but not necessarily like because I didn't since this wasn't an auction draft. It was just pick who was kind of best in slot at the time, and
Hmm.
it's not like I'm bidding against people with where I'm trying to save my money or trying to outspend people on certain players. Like there was no way I was getting Kittle, or there was no way I was getting one of whoever the top quarterback or it was this. I think it
Mahomes.
was Murray was like the one that everybody was going for, right?
Patrick Mahomes.
Or Mahomes. Yeah, so I didn't have a chance of getting any of those people, and I guess I could have tried to do what Anthony does and trade the shit out of trading until you traded no more, and get like all of all of the picks of what's his bucket?
All of Brandon's first round picks, or a
No,
couple of
Johnny's?
Johnny's picks.
Johnny's all of Johnny until you get like every pick that Johnny has ever had, in the bucket, and for like a player that's good this season, and stack yourself for the next season or something. I mean, you could do that. I could try that. That seems like a lot of work. And like I said, since I thought the season wasn't even happening, I did not put in that effort.
Well, the good news for you, Chris, is we've got next season and the season after that and the season after that and the season after that to change your strategy, try a different strategy, think about a different focus, or you can just keep on keeping on with the way that you're doing. I'm not one to say anything. I got straight up last place and you made the playoffs with the third highest scoring team in the league, so don't listen to me.
Well, like I said, are you playing for 5 years down the road? Weren't you doing that though? Weren't you like? Isn't
I'm
that what your
always trying
strategy
to
was?
win. I'm
Oh
always
yeah,
trying to win. I was going for it every single
Tyler's trying
week.
to win on his
Well
fifth year.
documented.
That's Tyler's time frame right there. It's like 4 5 years into the league, he's like, oh, I got this. I got this. I'm a $500 in. This is my time to shine.
That's the other thing. It's like, why not just try and win every season if you're, because
That's what I'm trying to do every season. It didn't work out for me. Someone's got to get 12th. Someone's
Tyler
got to get 12th.
willingly tanked to take that position. He wants that title.
Not true. Not
I
true.
guess you could. I mean, I think your cycle should probably be like a 2-year cycle where you tank 1 year and get better draft picks, and then that's probably all you do. That's a rough strategy though in a dynasty league to do that in the first season because I feel like you're screwing yourself up for a long time coming. Though I don't think most players don't end up being good multiple seasons in a row. Like they don't perform at the same intensity that there are a handful of them that do, but it's not like consistent for a lot
Yeah,
of
no, I
them.
agree with that. That's like why I traded with Johnny, because I was like, if I'm gonna give a first round pick, I'd rather get players that maybe this isn't their year, maybe it is, but no, I'm gonna kind of just span my trade picks out, get more just to hopefully hit and just better my odds. Gambling, right?
Yeah, I mean, so like one guy I talked to at work at one point was I was telling him about our other league, not the Dynasty league, but just the keeper league, and he's like, I don't understand why people do keeper leagues because you try and you keep players, but the players you keep, they're just never as good. They're not as good as, or they're not the number one players as the year previous, right? So it's like, yeah, this guy did really good last year, like he almost guaranteed will not be as good the next year. Like it's kind of like a fallacy that we've put in. So the dynasty league is like that to the nth degree, right? You're stuck with all these players, so you might as well pick players that you want to like root for or something. So I did that a few times. That's why I grabbed a few different players like Josh Jacobs, and
Yeah,
some
I
of the
feel like in
San
terms
Francisco and Oakland team players.
Yeah, in terms of what you were mentioning about like a 2-year rebuild cycle or how long it can take to potentially do something, I was having an interesting conversation with Jeremy recently, and we were actually talking. Jeremy and I strategize a lot, and we were talking about Anthony's team. as we inevitably do all the time. Because his team won the championship, and we also feel is in a decently good spot to continue to stay strong because he also has other draft picks and whatnot. And we were saying basically if a team didn't have all of those other teams' draft picks, because he's traded and he's done a good job in that. But suppose they're just really really good and they're just continuing to win or place at the top, where they're getting the 12th pick and the 11th pick and that kind of stuff because they're in the championship, so they're getting the last picks. How long would it take for a team who's at the bottom, who's consistently getting maybe like top 3, top 4 picks, to eventually catch someone like that in value? How many years is that going to be? Not to mention the fact that that player who is in the championship, he's probably playing a lot of veterans, a lot of players who are maybe a little bit older. It's a little bit few and far between the ones who are kind of performing at the absolute highest, who are in their first or second year. Not as much. Usually it's someone like, I'm thinking like Devonte Adams, for example, or DeAndre Hopkins, right? Those are 27, 28-year-old wide receivers. They're at the top of the game, but they're also 2, 3 years away from, or even 1 year from like declining. So like, how long does that turnover happen? And we were having an interesting debate about that.
I think the thing is there's so few, like this is a very academic conversation because there are so few players relatively for like the statistics in the NFL to play that out, where it's because you're gonna have injuries, you're gonna have like things that augment how good a player is are just gonna have drastic effects on their end, how well they do in the end. Now, if we had like a huge sample size of players in this, then you would probably get some kind of consistent return that was that you could really monitor or measure. But there's just so few players and so few teams and slots where they can play and playing time that it's like one injury or like that may not even be related to your player, right? Like their O line has some injuries and now their running back sucks because they can't get through blockers or anything like that. So there's just a lot of variance there. Strength of schedule, how players don't necessarily perform as well every year, like we were saying. So I mean, how many you could pull up like the top 5 wide receivers, top 5 running backs. I'm sure there's somebody on there who is either very low draft, maybe undrafted. I mean, I think Kareem Hunt was someone who was really good, like who was like undrafted or whatever a couple years ago, and then he just like popped into the scene and was crazy. I mean, there's just like
James
tons of players.
Robinson.
But no, I think Kareem. I don't know, maybe James Robinson.
He did
but
that.
Yeah, so it's like you can even if you have the best draft picks. Also, this is another thing, right? So like, let's say you get the best first round picks and stuff like that. I mean, there could be people who end up going really late in a draft who end up being really good. I mean,
Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, I don't know. Possibly.
Chris, I have a question for you. Okay, so you mentioned you're not trading that much, but you also, so we talked about philosophical. Aaron Jones is probably like, he had a huge year. He is number 5 RB overall. His situation could be good, could be bad, but it's also like a lot of players typically when they get their big contract don't perform as well. Are you trying to sell high on Aaron Jones, or just not going to trade him and see how he does? How do you kind of go about that?
The thing is I don't think about trading very often, and when I do, I just don't. I feel like I'm going to probably end up not getting an even deal or worse in a lot of cases. So I don't know if I would end up trading him. The thing is if I traded him and I would try and trade him high, in the thought that he would decline in value, like playing like a stock market game. But you just don't know, and I'd rather keep a player I know has good skill than get someone who's hot. So he might end up on. He might not get as much playing time or whatnot, but in a dynasty league, he also might have a resurgence the next year because he kind of kicks his ass into gear. I don't know. I'd rather have someone who I know who could perform than a hot player, I think.
Let me ask you this, Chris. There's been a lot of football news. I don't know how much you've been paying attention to it, but we had
Zero.
zero. We had the real NFL draft just this past week, a week ago today.
Okay, yeah, I heard a little bit about
All right.
that.
I mean, your 49ers drafted Trey Lance. That was really, really huge news. I would imagine even bigger news around the Bay Area. Super Bowl buzz kind of, going around on the 49ers. This was a move to potentially try to be a win now team. Just in general, whether they're players on your team or players on other teams. And then there's the Aaron Rodgers news, the fiasco. Don't know if you've been paying attention to that. He potentially wants out of Green Bay. What are your just kind of general thoughts on the season that's now only a couple months away?
General thoughts. I will probably procrastinate my research until a couple of days before draft day. I won't trade anybody until probably the season starts, if I do trade anything, and it will be after the draft. And if I realize my team sucks just terribly after that, then I'll probably make some moves just so that I can salvage something. And then I would probably think about rescaping my team for the next draft if that's the case, because it's a dynasty league. So I don't know. The typical thought on the season, I have no clue who's going to do well or not. I would like to see the 49ers do well. I'd like to see the Raiders do well. My boy Gruden, I'd like to get him to start doing a little bit better. I feel like Gruden's been trying to build something a little bit more from the ground up, and I don't know. It sounds like Shanahan and the Niners are trying to win now, so according to what you just said. I don't have a lot of thoughts about the next season, to be honest. Last season when Brady won again, I'd say typically I wouldn't root for Brady for any reason, but thought it showed a lot to be able to go to another team and win. So I actually was rooting for him in the Super Bowl, which was kind of a surprise to myself.
I hear you. So you do have the 8th pick in this upcoming draft. And I would imagine, can you name a single rookie in the entire class besides Trey Lance? Because we just talked about him. Just one.
No.
Not a single one. Would you have been able to pull up Trey Lance if I wouldn't have said his name?
No.
No. All right. So you're
I just heard the only
super
thing I heard
dialed
was
in.
that they were looking to get a quarterback. I'm assuming he's a quarterback.
He plays defense, actually.
They actually, I'm not even kidding. They actually went and tried to get Aaron Rodgers and trade around their 3rd round pick plus some other just to get Aaron Rodgers before the draft.
Yeah.
Well, Aaron Rodgers is a California kid, right? So they thought they could swing that maybe.
Green Bay said no, thank you.
Of course not. I mean, well, I don't know. I think he's probably just kicking up dust, and he's not going to go anywhere. Probably just a negotiating tactic. Why would he want to move? What does he care? He's got like 2 seasons left, maybe. I don't know. Get as much money as you can in those 2 seasons.
So briefly here, I don't want to take up too much time on this, but we always like to take a look at someone's moves throughout the season. And if you can see my screen here, we're going to bring them up. You made 7 free agent moves, 2 waiver claims. We'll start with the waiver claims. Looks like first one, you dropped Jordan Reed for whoever the heck this guy is, Chris Herndon. Seems like a minor deal, not much to talk about. Dropped a kicker for Jeff Wilson. He's on the 49ers. I feel like that actually probably worked out pretty well for you.
Yeah, that's a good pickup.
That was a great pickup. A top, just a good running back, period. Picking up off waiver wires. That's fantastic. We'll take a look to see if there were any notable free agents. This guy, the Travis Fulgham, he did some stuff for the Eagles. Probably pretty happy with that.
Yeah, no, I remember him. Honestly, I don't remember why I did it. Most of these moves are usually because of whatever my situation is week to week. and injuries and whatnot. Even though we had such a deep bench, I needed it. And then the last one was probably the only real trade I did, and again, I don't even know that it was very good for me. So
We want to talk about this for a second. We'll start with the one that you did first because we've done some season recaps with lots of teams now. We're just finished up with the last couple here, and we've talked about a lot of deals with other managers and whatnot. And these deals keep getting some attention because even if you feel like some of these were some of the minor, these actually, like, every single one of your deals ended up being kind of notable, I think. So first one, Jordan Reed, who is now retired, for Chase Claypool, who I think it was a little bit early in September when you made this deal, but Claypool ended up being pretty solid. It's a shame that I can't click on him here, but Anthony, he's like top 30, isn't he? Top 30 wide receiver.
Yeah, I think he was pretty. Let me hold on. I'll pull him up.
Also
real
a
quick.
rookie. He was a rookie.
16. It doesn't even seem right. So 16, and then that's standard format. So PPR, he was 24 in terms of wide receiver. That's pretty significant.
Would you say you picked up Jordan Reed because he played for the 49ers and you weren't quite sure who Chase Claypool was?
Um,
Because, like I said, he
so
was a rookie last year, so a little bit more unknown.
yeah, so I ended up getting Reed in this, and I needed a tight end. I even didn't like this trade after I did it, like pretty much right after I did it. I think I thought that he was going to be the starter, that he was going to get more
Was this after
playing
Kittle got
time.
hurt? Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. And so I think he had a good game the week. I think I picked him up like a week after he took over, and so he had a good game, and I thought he was basically going to take the lead. And then I think I read right after that he got injured or something like that. Like, I mean, he basically was out of it like right away. So that was just a bad deal all around. And I just think I thought I had wide receivers kind of down, and I was a rookie who I didn't know much about, so I just gave him away basically.
Yeah, week 2 he got 9 points, and then week 3 he got 10 points, and then he got injured right after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was kind of a low IQ. I didn't read into anything.
Well, I think it was also before Claypool really. He got a lot of attention kind of mid-season, as
Yeah, I
basically
think I
being kind
remember
of a breakout.
seeing him get more stuff, and I was like, I remember I traded him.
I
So
remember that guy.
yeah,
And then week 5 he gets 43 points, and you're like, shit.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Well, that's how it happens, man. You don't know how that's gonna happen. That's what I'm saying. You draft somebody, you get first round pick, and then like some eighth rounder just clocks everybody in one season out of nowhere.
So the second trade that you made was you traded away James Robinson, who, again, wasn't he like number 7 running back on the season? Hot start, right? So he's starting for Jacksonville, who had nobody because they traded away Leonard Fournette or released him or whatever. And so you got Jimmy Graham and Tyler Higbee. So looks like you love tight ends. You went out of your way to go get Jordan Reed, and
I didn't
then
have, dude.
you
I
didn't
didn't have a
have you
tight. I
needed more.
basically my tight end pool was terrible. I just needed to get some tight ends.
Hmm.
I
Higbee
think
did have
that's
some
where
hype, actually. I remember there were even reading some stuff and listening to some stuff. I remember listening to things where they were like, "Go out and send out some feelers for Tyler Higbee. He could be good on the Rams," and he was solid. I think the issue on this specific one was, uh, again, Robinson ended up having a quite huge season out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean Higbee is kind of like smoke and mirrors. Like he had 28 points in his second week, and then kind of just faded from there.
yeah, yeah. I did a lot. I think I just basically made a few trades like that where I was just trying to get my tight end stuff situated because I think that was just my weakest slot, and yeah, tried to get somebody.
Anthony, you want
Chris,
to
just so you
talk
know,
about
I got George Kittle, and he's available for trade. I also have Darren Waller. both teams you enjoy is also available for trade.
Oh my
So you
God,
just
this is
let
a
me
match
know if
made
you,
in heaven. Tight ends on Chris's favorite teams.
right?
Those are both those would be the two that I would want, actually, very much so.
So if there's a trade that you want to make, you want to get either one of those players, they're available for trade. Just so you know.
All right, well, keep it in mind.
Keep your guard up, Chris. You're talking with the ultimate snake.
Ultimate snake. Oh, don't get me started, Tyler, on your most recent deal. Chris, let me fill in on Tyler's most recent scandal lately. He tracked Johnny down in a deep dark alley. It was probably around 2 a.m.
Does Johnny have any other players that I can get from him?
No,
got anything left? Or
he
you guys
doesn't have
already
any.
picked
He doesn't have
his
any
pockets
picks.
clean?
Yeah. There's no picks left for him. That's what he's just getting players and giving up picks like candy. So if you want like a third or fourth round pick, he'll give it to you for free probably. But so he basically gave Tyler what 2 first round picks and a third round for T. Higgins.
And a 4th round pick, and a 5th round pick, and a 6th round pick. Thank you very much.
So he gave
T. Higgins
him.
is a top 20 dynasty player. Thank you.
Tyler gave away trash, maybe a shiny penny, not even a shiny penny, dirty penny. He get 2 first round picks, a third round, and just gave away T. Higgins.
You know what? I'm just going to assume that everybody in this league can make their decisions, and if it,
Amen.
So I mean, like, hey,
Amen.
if only at the end it just encourages all of us to just try and trade more and I guess try and snake all of each other to deal as much from the players who aren't paying attention. And now we do this podcast, I'm not paying attention, but I don't trade anybody. So there you go.
Johan's of the same mind.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's just trying to snake me, so I'll just don't trade them. And as you can see, if we went over my first 2 trades, didn't work out for me. It looks like so.
I can see the context though of trying to capitalize on a more well-known player, and they have a phenomenal game, and in the midst of a season things can change, and they kind of just didn't go in your favor.
Yeah, I mean, I think more often than not, trying to pick up a player after they had a hot game doesn't work out for you.
I will say that the first trade with Claypool, when that went through, we all see like these minor trades. I'm sure I saw that in September, and I didn't know who Chase Claypool was, and I was just like, this is a minor trade, like whatever. Kittle just got hurt. Jordan Reed could be something, kind of not thinking much of it at all. And then I got to be honest, I had been thinking about some different James Robinson stuff for quite a while. I think maybe Johnny had asked me about. Maybe either you or maybe it must have been Johnny after he got him. I was never a James Robinson believer. I just felt like he just got the job because nobody else like was able to fill in that role in Jacksonville, and someone had to be the running back. But that they were, he wasn't going to last in it. And I think, of course, they drafted ETN, so that's.
Well, wasn't like Azigbo? Wasn't he like slated to be the number 1, and then he like got COVID? Like, didn't that just like line him up and prep him for the job kind of thing?
And then there was the other guy like Reichwell Armstead as well, who I had some shares of Armstead across some other different leagues, and so it was just kind of a crapshoot, like which one of them actually was going to ascend and kind of take that role. And it ended up being Robinson, but I was always just a Robinson doubter. So I can totally see like you make those moves, you're not sure if they're going to stick around. Anthony, wanted you to talk about the last trade that Chris did.
What did you trade?
It's on my screen.
Oh no, I don't. Chris, why?
Well, 2023 is a while out, and I figured if I had one more person who could just be explosive, might be able to have a big game going into the playoffs, that I just have somebody. I mean, who knows? I mean, it's still. I mean, he's still
got
AB,
him.
right? And he could have easily been targeted more and gotten more deep passes and everything like that. I think
he actually had a solid run down the stretch.
Yeah, I don't know how much I played him, to be honest.
Chris, I also have Lev Bell, who's at the same caliber. So if you have a 2024 first round,
I'm not touching Bell. Are you kidding me?
he's available. He didn't commit any crimes that I know of yet.
I mean, and the other thing is, devil you know versus devil you don't. Yeah, first round pick 2023. I don't know. That could be a fucking amazing person, but it might not be very good. And I'd rather try to win now. So that was the mentality there. Just give myself something.
I mean, you needed a receiver. I think you were light on receiver at the time, and this was
No, I don't
somebody.
think I was lighter in receivers like at any point in the season. That was actually probably the thing I didn't need, but I took it.
Well, you're right. 2023 is a long way away.
The other part of it is you're always asking me about trades all the time, and I always reject them. I just let up this one time.
I don't
Oh
even.
no! Oh no! That's what he does.
Legitimately, I don't think you and I have talked about a trade in like
It's because I say
10
no all the
months.
time.
No, it's been like 10 months. I haven't even tried to
Dude,
bring it up
we
to
haven't been
you.
playing this, and we haven't been doing
You
anything with this
haven't
in,
been playing this or doing anything. There's actually been, I'm not even kidding, I think 9 trades since over the last like
oh my
4
God,
weeks.
Tyler, 9 trades.
I'm just
9
letting you know,
trades.
in the league, there's been 9 trades in the league. If you were
How
to
many
open up
how
the
many
app,
people are in the league?
12?
There's been 9 trades between 12 players in a month.
No.
Like 4 months, but before the season starts up. That is crazy amount of action. You're right.
Oh, you
Gotta get in on this.
sweet
Gotta get
summer
on this
child.
action.
I'm just letting you know the league
Jesus.
has been active, and I know that you've probably got the notifications off, and you're not interested in the drama and Anthony slinging mud my way and me slinging mud Anthony's way. But there's been stuff going on. You can.
That's been the best part of Sleeper League is not having to get 50 million texts
Yep.
from like 3 text chains because someone you can't all be on the same fucking text chain.
Fucking
Oh
Logan.
my God.
Logan, get on the same stupid chain as us. I can't believe it.
I
That
mean,
is
it's called sleeper, so
yeah,
let just put
exactly.
it to sleep.
All right, here's my thing though. I want to petition for this again. I don't know why there's like any hesitance for it because I think it just makes sense.
Get rid of kickers. I'm on board with
No,
that.
Chris actually
It's
is
completely
dialing the
opposite way.
exact
I know
opposite.
it is. I know.
The kicker, I mean, like, okay, so the kicker breakpoints, like, why not make a 33-yard field goal 3.3 points? Why not make a 49-yard field goal 4.9 points? It's like you have these harsh breakpoints where, you get a 50-yarder and you get 5, but a 49-yarder and you get 4. When they throw passes, when they run, they have all those point breakages and
Per
stuff like
yard.
that. Like, I mean, like, why not? I mean, it just seems you're gonna add like maybe 3 points to a game for kickers. It's not gonna crazy outbalance the game in the course of the game. It just will make more sense and be, I think, a little bit more
I think Tyler
interesting.
would have to manually calculate every single game. I don't
Oh, if
think
there's not a
there's
setting for it, then I
yeah.
totally understand. But if there is, it's just like, let's do it.
I don't think there is. I think I looked at that before.
Chris, how about I appoint you a third commissioner and your only responsibility is to manually update kicker points every week?
Dude, I wouldn't do it.
Are you sure?
Or I'd do it really badly and force you guys to fire me.
Yeah, I can see that being more likely.
Yeah, my kicker scored 500 points. What of it?
What of it? I'm in first place again.
Look how that happens.
Yeah. I think it needs to be studied more. I think it sounds
I'd be like
straightforward.
Johnny his kicker gets a 50-yarder minus 5 points. Every point that kicker gets minus points.
Okay, also I think we should add on points for how windy it is, right? So like if for example like it's an 11 mile an hour wind
Get out of
like
here.
coming
You're
straight
just making
ahead.
fun of me? What the fuck is this?
No,
Get
no, no,
out of
I'm not
here.
making fun of you at all. I'm trying to say like I'm trying to capture all of the variables. That's what we're talking about, right? We want this to be clear.
No, I just feel like they're just lazy. They're just super lazy with kickers. And it's like a super easy thing. It's like they measure it in the games. I mean, it's not like a stat that's not captured.
That's fair. That's fair. All
I
right.
mean, they're not measuring the wind resistance right now. That'd be like a crazy ask.
So the last couple of questions that we have for you, and then we'll set you free. Who do you, whether this is remembering from last year or whatever knowledge you have in your head, who are you predicting to be some of the contenders for next season? And who do you think is going to suck? And where do you think you're going to be?
The player teams?
No, I mean like our fantasy teams.
Yeah, right. That's sorry.
Right.
That's
Yeah, yeah.
the.
The managers.
I assume Anthony will do well. And I think Aaron will probably be a middle of the ground team. I think I will probably be a middle of the ground team. And I think Tyler will get 11th place.
11. So
Some good predictions.
I'm rising 12 to 11. So in 11 years, I'm going to get first place.
You can do it, Tyler.
Oh, I didn't say that. No, I just said next year you'll get 11th. I didn't say that you're going to continually get better. I just,
Oh.
I'm feeling like you can't get 2 years in a row where you're bottom of the barrel, but
If you had one guess on who was going to be the actual bottom of the barrel, who do you think is going to be?
probably Lee.
Interesting. Why is
That's
that?
just a random guess.
Okay, just a random guess. Good. Good.
He probably has a good team, but I feel like he gets screwed over all the time. So it's
Oh
you
man,
know.
you hit the nail on the head with
He-
his QB situation. He is in trouble.
Yeah, I feel like he just has really bad luck.
See, you haven't even been paying attention.
Well, that's not
but
true.
You have no idea how unlucky
he
he's
had,
been.
he's had one season where he I think in another league we were playing where he just was winning all types of games by just barely or something with like the worst team or something. He went
I think that was
9-0
Robert.
or
That was Robert, if you remember.
was it? Oh, okay, I thought
Jasper's
it was
dad.
Lee. I thought it was Lee. Anyway, I thought he had like a crazy season, and then him and Jason. So Lee and Jason, I think, get screwed over a whole lot.
Jason gets screwed over a lot. Robert is the absolute opposite. Robert legitimately was like 10-0 or 9-1, and he had like literally the lowest point total in the league. And everyone is just going crazy. We're like, how is this happening? And thank God he lost in like the first round or something, but it was outrageous what was happening.
Yeah.
Chris, have you heard about the taxi squad function that we added?
No idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so in this upcoming season, basically we added 4 taxi slots to every single team. And what the purpose of it is that you can put any rookie or sophomore player on that taxi squad, kind of like an IR spot, right? You can interchange them, just so, rookie players take time to grow and develop. So you have the additional players, rookies and sophomores, that you can, again, just either put on your roster or put on there. So it kind of just makes the depth charts, the waiver wire, that much more scarce.
It also gives you capacity.
You made each of the teams have more depth. Like we have more slots we can fill now.
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna have to trade to get anything of value.
Dude, the taxi slots. Okay, so what makes them different from like a bench slot or whatever? Like, do you have to leave them in there for a extended period of time, or was there some penalty to using them? Like, what makes that different than a bench slot?
It can only be a rookie or a sophomore that can fill up that spot. Kind of like in IR, it can only be like a person who's designated out or IR.
Yeah, I got it. Okay.
So it gives you someone, for example, like a Jordan Love, where he's drafted as a quarterback, but he's going to sit at least 1 year, possibly 2. Previously, you would just be completely wasting a bench spot on that player, but at least in a taxi spot, you're, only wasting a taxi spot. You can pick up somebody else.
How many bets are you guys all playing? I mean, Jesus, I feel like I had I don't even know if I filled my fucking bench right now. I mean, seriously, this league is crazy. Every player is going to be owned by somebody.
Absolutely.
That is true. Just about
Absolutely.
every
I have
player.
an open bench slot right now.
We were having a conversation on on Johan's podcast, and because he was talking about how you should just win off of your draft alone, and we're trying to convince him like this is a dynasty league. All the players are going to be owned. It's going to be scarce as hell. You're going to have to make a trade at some point in time to stay relevant.
But I'm going to hate this league even more. Oh no.
You have to interact with us more, Chris. Oh no.
This is terrible. All right.
I have every bit of faith in you. And I'm almost
Why?
afraid at this point to bring up, not only did we add 4 taxi slots, we added 6 bench spots. 6.
No, 2. We added
Was it
2
2?
benches and 4 taxi, which is a total of 6.
Okay, I'm wrong. Oh, but we upped the draft to 6 rounds instead of 4.
Correct.
Okay, maybe that's where I got the 6.
Remember
wrong.
how you remember how like last year one of the selling points of the feature drafts is, yeah, this first one's not going to take that long, but the next ones will be pretty short. You're adding more draft slots too.
I still think the
Fucking
next.
Jesus Christ.
No, I still think. To be fair, the rookie drafts I think of course are going to be way shorter because there are only 6. The last one that we did was 25. 25.
Man, I don't know what I signed up for. Apparently, this is crazy.
Yeah,
You're
less
gonna
than
be
a
just
quarter
fine.
of the time.
You're gonna be just fine. We're gonna roll into regular season and
I'm gonna have to like
here.
leave all my other leagues. Just leave them. I'm gonna have to put all my time to this freaking big boys league.
That's why it's called the Big Boys League.
Absolutely. I'm retiring myself from the LC League so I can focus on this.
Whoa.
Jesus.
LC League is
That's
a
the one I
treasure.
care about.
That's what everyone cares about, except for Anthony because he can't win.
No, I'm not from LC, that's why.
I'm not from LLC. At this point, I feel like, what's the percentage of people that are from LC in that league? 80%? 60%?
The only people that aren't are Chris and Anthony and Jeremy. And I mean, technically, Braxton's not from LC. He's from San Diego, but then he showed up in like elementary school. So
He's from LC.
he's from LC, I guess.
Elementary school, you're not going to count him in there.
Yeah. He showed up in kindergarten,
I'm
but
just letting you know.
know.
I know
Dude,
Braxton's not going to listen to this, but
LC blood runs deep for Tyler.
yeah,
you're not real. You didn't.
he
You
must
showed
be
up in
born.
2nd grade. I mean, I was born in
Ugh.
Portland, so. I mean,
Yeah, so you don't count either.
I guess not. So yeah, to answer, I guess Chris is right. It is true. All right. Well, we'll wrap this up. I am very pleased to have finally gotten Chris here on this pod, and we look forward to next season. And Chris, we look forward to the day when you turn on your sleeper app notifications, because we're looking forward to
Dude,
bringing
I'm
you
just
back
going to
into the
randomly
fold.
win one season. I won't even know.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Maybe. All right, guys. Thanks again.
See ya.
Peace.